My name is Megan Thornton. I'm 29 years old. 3 days. My grandfather spent 3 days crying my name from a hospital bed while my own father stood outside his door and told every nurse, every doctor, every family member the same thing. She's not welcome here. He doesn't want her. When I finally showed up, because a stranger called me from a number I didn't recognize, my father blocked the doorway with his body and said 5 words I will never unhear. He wants to say goodbye to real family. But a nurse named Patty grabbed my arm, pulled me through a side entrance, and handed me a phone. She whispered, "Your grandfather has been asking for you for 3 days. Your father blocked every call. He told me to give you this." What I heard on that recording made me dial 911 before my grandfather even closed his eyes. Before I tell you what was on that phone, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if this story actually means something to you. And tell me in the comments, where are you watching from right now, and what time is it there? Now let me take you back 5 days, to the night I got a call from a number I'd never seen. I'm walking home from Evergreen Senior Living at 3 in the morning. 12-hour night shift. My scrubs smell like antiseptic and the lavender lotion Mrs. Abernathy insists I rub on her hands before lights out. My car's been dead for 2 weeks, alternator, and the parts back-ordered from some warehouse in Indiana. So I walk, 22 minutes, door to door, through the quietest streets in Millfield, Ohio. I let myself into Grandpa's house. His house. The one he built with his own hands in 1981. Oak floors he sanded by hand, window sills he carved little grooves into so I could line up my potted rosemary when I was 9. The place still smells like sawdust and coffee, even though he hasn't been home in 5 days. I'm pulling off my shoes when my phone buzzes. Unknown number. Area code 740, local. I almost let it go. 3 a.m. calls from numbers you don't know are never good news, and I've had enough bad news this year, but something makes me pick up. "Is this Megan Thornton?" A woman's voice. Older, tight, like she's keeping it together by force. "Who is this?" "My name is Patty. I'm a nurse at Memorial. Your grandfather—" "Honey, you need to come here, right now." My stomach drops. "My grandfather? I called my dad yesterday. He said Grandpa was sleeping. He said everything was stable." She cuts me off. "Your grandfather is not stable. And the person who told you that—" She pauses. I hear her exhale. "He's not stable either." The line clicks dead. I stand in the middle of my grandfather's living room at 3 in the morning. No car, no answers. And a feeling in my chest like someone just rearranged every piece of furniture in the dark. Patty called from a personal number. Not the hospital's. I know because I have Memorial's number saved. I've called it 11 times this week. Every time the front desk told me the same thing. "Mr. Thornton's emergency contact has restricted visitor access." His emergency contact. My father. I should tell you about this house. My mother died when I was 7. Car accident on Route 33 during an ice storm. One moment I had a mom who braided my hair and sang off-key in the shower. The next moment I had a casket and a father who couldn't look at me without flinching, because everyone said I had her eyes. Dad wasn't ready. That's what Grandpa told me gently, the night he carried my suitcase into the spare bedroom and said, "This is yours now." I was 7, and I believed him. 19 years later, this room still has my name on the door, penciled in Grandpa's handwriting. 2 years after Mom died, Dad met Brenda. They married fast, moved 2 hours south. Phone calls got shorter, visits got rarer. Then they just stopped. Grandpa never said a bad word about him, not once. The closest he ever came was one evening on the porch when I was maybe 15, angry, asking why Dad never showed up for my birthday. Grandpa set down his coffee and said, "Your dad has his reasons, but you've got me, kiddo. That's enough." And it was. He woke up at 5 every morning to make me breakfast before school. Oatmeal with brown sugar, every single day, for 12 years. He taught me to fix a leaky faucet, change a tire, read a blueprint. When I said I wanted to be a nurse, he drove me 40 minutes each way to the LPN program and waited in the parking lot doing crossword puzzles. 4 months ago, the cough that wouldn't quit turned into a diagnosis. Stage 4. Lung cancer. I rearranged my shifts to be with him. We had a system. Then Derek came back. And in his nightstand, the same drawer where he keeps his reading glasses and a photo of my mother, Grandpa had an old flip phone. In case the power goes out, he told me once. I never thought twice about it. I should have. I call a rideshare. The app spins and spins. 3 in the morning in a town of 9,000 people. There's nobody driving. I call Rosa. She's a CNA on my shift, drives a Corolla that smells like pine air freshener and menthol cigarettes. She picked up my slack last Tuesday when Mrs. Abernathy had a fall. I hate asking for favors, but right now I hate standing still more. Rosa, I need a ride to Memorial. Girl, I just got on the highway going the other direction. I know, I'm sorry. I wouldn't ask if... Give me 15 minutes. While I wait, I do what I've been doing for 3 months every time I have a question about my grandfather. I call my father. Ring, 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 voicemail, again, voicemail, 3rd time, 4th time. He picks up. Megan. His voice is flat, not sleepy, controlled. It's 3 in the morning. A nurse from Memorial just called me. She said I need to come. What nurse? She said her name was Patty. Silence. Then his voice shifts, harder. Nobody was supposed to call you. I'm the primary contact. I manage communication. That's been established. I'm standing in Grandpa's kitchen, gripping the counter. Dad, is Grandpa okay? He's sleeping. He's fine. Go to bed, Megan. Then why did a nurse call me at 3 a.m.? I said go to bed. He hangs up. I stare at the phone. Rosa honks outside. In the car, Rosa glances at me. What's going on? I don't know yet, but I know that voice. That's my father's voice when he's hiding something. Rosa drives faster. The lights of Memorial Regional appear at the end of the road, glowing against the dark, like a question I'm not sure I'm ready to answer. The hospital corridor at 3:40 a.m. is a strange kind of quiet. Not peaceful, just emptied out. Fluorescent lights hum overhead. Somewhere down the hall, a machine beeps in slow rhythm. Room 412. I see it before I reach it. My father is standing in the doorway, arms crossed, dress shirt untucked, sleeves rolled. Brenda sits in a plastic chair beside him, holding a paper cup of coffee, like it's a prop in a play she's been rehearsing. Derek sees me coming. His eyes scan me, wrinkled scrubs, messy ponytail, dark circles. He doesn't move. What are you doing here? I'm here to see my grandfather. He tilts his head, the way you'd look at a dog that wandered into the wrong yard. Then he speaks, not loud, but clear enough for Brenda to hear, clear enough for the hallway. He doesn't want to see you, Megan. He wants to say goodbye to real family. The words land before I can brace, not because I believe them, I don't, but because my own father just told me I'm not family, in a hospital hallway, while my grandfather is dying on the other side of that door. Brenda shifts in her chair. Honey, don't make this harder. He's very weak. I step forward. Derek puts his hand on the doorframe. I told the hospital you're not allowed in. You're not on the list. A night nurse approaches, clipboard in hand, looking confused. Derek turns to her with practiced ease. She's not on the approved visitor list. I'm the primary contact. Check the file. The nurse checks, looks at me, looks at Derek. I'm sorry, ma'am. She's not listed. I stand in the hallway. Through the door, I hear the monitor. Steady, mechanical, alive. My grandfather is 10 feet from me, and I can't get to him. I back away from the door. My hands are shaking, but not from cold. I lean against the wall, staring at the ceiling tiles, trying to think clearly. I didn't come here to cause a scene. I came because a woman I've never met told me my grandfather needed me. A hand touches my shoulder. I turn. She's about 55, silver hair pinned in a tight bun, RN badge clipped to blue scrubs. Her eyes are the kind of serious that comes from decades of seeing things most people only imagine. Come with me. Don't say anything. I follow. She walks fast, through a side corridor, past a supply closet, around a corner I didn't know existed. We stop at another door. Same room, 412, but from the opposite side. She faces me. 3 days, she says quietly. 3 days your grandfather has been calling your name. His blood pressure spikes every time that man walks in. He drops back to normal the minute he leaves. She pauses. I filed a concern with the hospital social worker yesterday. My dad told me Grandpa didn't want to see me. Patty looks at me the way I look at families when I have to deliver hard news at Evergreen. Steady, direct, no room for softness. Your grandfather cries every night because he thinks you abandoned him. Something cracks open inside my chest. I've been a nurse for 20 years, she says. I know what fear looks like on a patient's face, and your grandfather is afraid, not of dying, of that man. She puts her hand on the door handle. Ready? I nod. She opens the door. He looks smaller. That's the first thing I notice. 2 weeks ago, the last time I saw him, before Derek took over, before the visitor list got locked, before the phone calls stopped connecting, Grandpa was thin but present, sitting up, making dry jokes about hospital food, complaining that the TV only had 4 channels. Now he's a sketch of himself, oxygen tube under his nose, IV in his left hand, the hand that used to grip a hammer like it was part of his body, his eyes open, red-rimmed, wet. He sees me and his mouth trembles, not a smile, something before a smile, like the ground shifting before rain. Meggie. His voice is sandpaper and broken glass. I'm beside him in 2 steps. I take his hand. It's so light. I'm here, Grandpa. You came. His fingers close around mine. No strength, but all the intention in the world. I thought, Derek said, he told me you didn't want. I know what he told you. He said you were busy. He said you said, his chin shakes. You said you didn't need me anymore. I can feel my heartbeat in my throat. 3 days. My grandfather lay here for 3 days believing I'd abandoned him, because my father told him I had, and told me he was sleeping. Grandpa, I called every day. I called the hospital. I called Dad. They told me you were resting. They told me not to come. Harold closes his eyes. A tear runs down the side of his face into the pillow. Then he opens his eyes, and they're different, sharper, the way they used to look when he was measuring something, making sure every angle was true. Listen to me. I don't have a lot of time left. He glances toward the nightstand. But I prepared. I follow his gaze. Patty steps in. She opens the nightstand drawer and pulls out the old flip phone. The one I've seen sitting there for years. Silver, scratched, the kind of phone you'd find at a gas station for $20. Your grandfather asked me to hold this 3 days ago, Patty says, right after Derek took his regular phone and deleted every contact. I look at Grandpa. Press play, he says. I recorded everything. I open the phone, the voice memo app, basic, just a red circle and a list. 7 files. The first one is dated 5 days ago. I press play. Derek's voice fills the room. Clear, unmistakable. Listen to me, old man. You're going to sign this paper, or I will move you to the cheapest nursing home in this county, the kind of place where nobody visits, the kind of place where you die alone. Then Grandpa's voice shaking. That's my house. I built that house. Derek, cutting in. You built it 40 years ago. Now you're lying here. Who do you think you're saving it for? For that girl? She's not even my... A pause. He catches himself. She shouldn't get any of it. I stop the recording. My hand is trembling against the phone. He almost said it. She's not even my own father, standing over a dying man's bed, nearly said out loud what he's apparently thought all along, that I'm not his. I look at Grandpa. His eyes are steady on mine. There are 6 more, he says. Listen to all of them, then do what I can't do anymore. My hands are shaking. Not from fear. From the kind of anger that doesn't scream, it plans. I sit on the edge of Grandpa's bed with the flip phone pressed against my ear, and I listen to my father dismantle an old man's life in 6 recordings. Recording 2. Derek on speakerphone with Brenda, pacing Grandpa's hospital room like he owns it. Once he signs, we sell the house. Market's good right now. Pay off the mortgage on our place and still have enough to... Brenda's voice, tinny through the speaker. What about the girl? Derek. What about her? Recording 3. Derek standing over Grandpa's bed. Megan's not coming. I called her. She said she's busy. I hear Grandpa ask, small and broken. She said that? Derek. Her words, Dad, not mine. Recording 4. Rustling paper. Derek's voice impatient. Power of attorney. I handle everything. Medical, financial, the house. Just sign it. I'll take care of you. Grandpa. I want to talk to Megan first. Derek. Megan doesn't want to talk to you. Recording 5. Grandpa refuses again. Derek's chair scrapes the floor. You want to die alone in this room? Because I can arrange that. I'll walk out that door and I won't come back. Recording 6. This one makes my blood go cold. Derek is on the phone with a bank. He's using Grandpa's name, his date of birth, his social security number, requesting a transfer, $4,800, into what he calls a shared account. I know Grandpa doesn't have a shared account. Recording 7. Derek talking to a nurse, not Patty. My niece has some mental health issues. She'll agitate the patient. Please don't let her in. I set the phone down. I'm sitting on the floor now. I don't remember sliding off the bed. Grandpa watches me. I'm sorry you had to hear that. You don't owe me an apology. I look at him. What do you need me to do? Protect the house. And protect yourself. Grandpa tells me his banking login. I don't ask why he knows it by heart. He's the kind of man who memorizes things because he doesn't trust machines to remember for him. Last year, when the cough was just a cough and the doctor said it was probably nothing, Grandpa added me to his checking account. Just in case I can't get to the bank myself someday, he said. I signed the paperwork at the kitchen table and forgot about it. I pull up the account on my phone. 3 months ago, the balance was $47,000. $47,000. A lifetime of carpentry, Social Security deposits, and a man who never once bought something he didn't need. Current balance, $33,200. $14,000. Gone. Transferred in amounts just under $5,000. The threshold that triggers a bank report. 4 separate transactions over 12 weeks. Each one routed to an account ending in 8841. That's not Grandpa's account. I know every number on his file. It gets worse. His Social Security, $1,680 a month, hasn't deposited in 2 months. Someone changed the direct deposit routing. Grandpa, did you change where your Social Security goes? He shakes his head slowly. I asked Derek why the money stopped coming. He said the bank was having technical problems. I screenshot everything. Transaction history, routing numbers, dates. I email them to myself. Backup. Patty knocks on the door, leans in. Sun's almost up. He comes at 8. Every morning, like clockwork. And he always checks the room first. I look at the clock on the wall. 5:47 a.m. 2 hours. I have 2 hours before Derek walks through that door. And right now, I'm sitting in a chair with $14,000 worth of proof on a screen and 7 recordings on a phone that smells like sawdust. What I do in the next 2 hours changes everything. Okay, I need to stop here for a second. Because sitting in that hospital room at 5 in the morning, staring at bank statements on my phone while my grandfather sleeps for the first time in 3 days, I want you to understand something about me. I'm not a dramatic person. I don't make speeches. I don't do confrontation for sport. I go to work, I come home, I check on my grandfather. That's my whole life. But there's a difference between being quiet and being weak. And my father was about to learn that difference. So let me ask you this. If you heard your own parents' voice on a recording, threatening the person who raised you, stealing their money while they lie in a hospital bed, what would your first move be? Tell me in the comments. I genuinely want to know. All right, let's get back to room 412. It's 5:47 a.m., and the clock is ticking. I work the way I work at Evergreen when a patient has a crisis at 2 a.m., and the day nurses won't be in for hours. Systematic, one thing at a time. First, I copy every audio file from the flip phone to my own phone. Then I email them to myself, 2 backups. If this phone disappears, the recordings don't disappear with it. Second, I call Adult Protective Services, the County Elder Abuse Hotline. It's 5:50 a.m. Nobody answers. I leave a detailed message. My name, my grandfather's name, the hospital, the situation. I keep my voice steady. Facts only. Third, I call the non-emergency police line. The dispatcher is calm, professional. She takes down everything. A detective from the Elder Abuse Unit will contact me today. Fourth, I print, mentally, the checklist I know from work. At Evergreen, we're mandatory reporters. I've filed 3 elder abuse reports in 6 years. I know the language. I know the process. This time the patient is my grandfather, and the abuser is my father. But the steps don't change. Grandpa is asleep. Really asleep. Not the tense, interrupted sleep Patty described from the past 3 days. His hand is still near mine on the blanket. His face has loosened. He looks for the first time in a week like the man who used to fall asleep on the porch with a crossword puzzle on his chest. I sit beside him and let myself have 30 seconds. Just 30. I think about oatmeal with brown sugar, about the cherry wood desk he built me when I was 12, about the grooves in the windowsills. The clock reads 7:30 a.m. I have to leave before Derek arrives. Not because I'm afraid, because it's not time yet. Confronting him here, now, with no backup, no process, that's emotion. What I need is procedure. I squeeze Grandpa's hand. He doesn't wake. I whisper, I'll be back. Then I walk out of room 412 before my father walks in. Rosa and I are in the hospital cafeteria. She's bought me a muffin I can't eat and a coffee I'm drinking too fast. It's 8:15 a.m. My phone rings. Derek, I answer. You were in his room last night. Not a question. His voice is the voice from the recordings, the one he uses when he's not performing for anyone. I visited my grandfather, yes. Who let you in? I'm calling the hospital administration. I will sue. You can sue whoever you want. I came to see my grandfather. A long breath through his nose. Then his voice drops. Quiet. Controlled. The voice of a man who's used to making people smaller. Listen to me carefully, Megan. You are living in Dad's house. That house is about to not be his anymore. If you want somewhere to sleep next month, I'd rethink the way you're behaving. I say nothing, but my phone is recording this call. Ohio is a one-party consent state. I learned that at Evergreen during a training on documenting patient complaints. Derek takes my silence as fear. He keeps going. And don't get any ideas. He's sick. He's confused. He says things. Nobody's going to believe a dying old man rambling in a hospital bed. I don't need anyone to believe him, I say. I just need the truth. I hang up. Rosa is staring at me across the table, her muffin halfway to her mouth. Was that your dad? Yeah. Are you okay? I take a sip of coffee. It's burnt and bitter and exactly right. Better than I've been in 3 months. My phone buzzes. A voicemail from an 740 number. The County Elder Abuse Unit returning my call. Detective Linda Harlan. She can meet me at the hospital this afternoon. The clock is still ticking, but now it's ticking for Derek. Rosa drops me back at Memorial around noon. I told her she didn't have to stay, but she parks the Corolla and says, "I'm getting lunch. You're getting answers. Text me when you're done." I'm walking toward the elevator when I see them. Derek is standing in the third-floor hallway outside Grandpa's room, shaking hands with Dr. Pham, Grandpa's oncologist. Derek's wearing a pressed blue button-down, clean shave, eyes slightly red. Brenda stands a step behind, hand on his back, the supportive wife, perfectly positioned. "I just want to make sure Dad's getting the best possible care," Derek says. His voice cracks on the word dad. "Just a little, just enough." "He's everything to me, Doctor." Dr. Pham nods. "Harold is lucky to have a son like you." I watch from behind the corner. My stomach turns. Derek shakes Dr. Pham's hand one more time. Firm, warm, eye contact. The moment the doctor turns the corner, Derek's face changes. Like someone flipped a switch. He leans into Brenda, voice low and fast. "She got in last night. We need to move the timeline up. I'm talking to him again this afternoon." "He still hasn't signed?" "He'll sign today. He's too weak to keep fighting." "What if she comes back?" "I told security she caused a disturbance. They'll stop her at the desk." They walk into room 412. The door clicks shut. I'm standing 15 feet away, phone in my pocket, and every word I just heard is burned into my brain. I text it to myself, time-stamped. Then I call APS back. This time the intake worker answers. "I have an appointment for tomorrow morning, and Derek has until this afternoon to try one more time to break my grandfather. I'm not going to let him." It's 2 o'clock. I'm back on the third floor, and this time there's a security guard sitting in a chair near room 412. Young guy, uncomfortable. Derek's work. I don't push it. I don't argue. I sit in the waiting area around the corner, close enough to hear voices through the wall. Derek's voice, muffled but distinct. "Dad, just sign it. I'm doing this for you. I'll handle everything. The house, the bills, the medical stuff. You won't have to worry about anything." Grandpa's voice, thin, but there. "I'm not signing." A pause. Then Derek, sharper. "You want her to have the house? She's nobody, Dad. She's a night shift nurse making $15 an hour. She can't even keep a car running." Grandpa. "She is my grandchild. She is the one who stayed." Silence. Long silence. A chair scrapes across the floor. Derek's voice goes cold, the pretense stripped away. "Fine, then you sit here, alone, because I'm done asking nicely." The door opens. Derek steps out. He sees me. We look at each other across 10 feet of hospital linoleum. His jaw is tight. His eyes are wet. But not from crying. From rage. "Don't think you've won anything," he says. "He'll sign. Or he'll have no one." He walks past me. Brenda follows, heels clicking, not looking at me, not looking at anything. I go into room 412. Grandpa is lying on his side, facing the window. His eyes are closed, but tears are running across his cheekbone and onto the pillow. I pull the chair to his bedside. I don't say anything. I just take his hand and sit with him while the afternoon light moves across the floor like something quiet and sure. He didn't sign. He held the line. That night, I sit at Grandpa's cherrywood desk and open Facebook for the first time in a week. Derek's post is the third thing on my feed, shared 4 hours ago. Blue background, white text, praying hands emoji. "Please keep my father, Harold Thornton, in your prayers. Our family is going through the most difficult season of our lives. We will be hosting a prayer vigil at Grace Community Church this Saturday evening at 7 p.m. Dad gave his whole life to this town. He built your porches, fixed your roofs, taught your kids to hold a hammer. Please come support our family during this time." 247 reactions, 83 comments. I scroll through them. "Derek, you are such a good son. Harold is so lucky to have you. Your whole family is in our prayers. Not one person mentions me." Then, Mrs. Stevens, Grandpa's next-door neighbor for 30 years. "How is Megan doing? Haven't seen her in a while." Derek's reply. "Megan is going through a difficult personal time. We're respecting her space." I read that 3 times. A difficult personal time. He's not just blocking me from the hospital, he's building a story. A version of events where I'm unstable, absent, struggling, and he's the devoted son holding everything together. By Saturday night, 150 people will sit in a church and believe it. I set the phone down on the desk. The same desk Grandpa built me from cherry wood when I was 12, sanded smooth, stained twice, with a little drawer that sticks unless you pull it just right. Saturday is 2 days from now. I open my contacts and find Detective Harlan's number. 2 days. I have 2 days to make sure that when my father stands in front of this town and plays the hero, the truth is already on its way. The next morning, my phone rings before I've finished my coffee. Aunt Ruth, Grandpa's younger sister, 71, lives in Columbus, drives a Buick, sends me birthday cards with $10 bills inside even though I'm 29. Megan, sweetheart. Her voice is careful, the kind of careful people use when they've already decided what they think. Derek called me last night. He said you've been causing some trouble at the hospital. Aunt Ruth, Derek won't let me see Grandpa. He took his phone. He deleted... Honey, he said Harold is very fragile right now. He said any excitement could... Grandpa called my name for 3 days. He thought I abandoned him. A pause. I hear her take a breath. But Derek said he's handling the medical decisions. He said you burst in at 3 in the morning and upset your grandfather. I close my eyes. Derek called everyone. Aunt Ruth, probably Uncle Jim in Dayton, probably the Petersons, probably every person in our family tree who still answers their phone. And he told them all the same story. Megan is the problem. Derek is the protector. Aunt Ruth, I love you, but I can't solve this inside the family when the family is the problem. Silence on the line. I just think, she says slowly, you two should talk it out, like adults, like family. We're past that. The call ends. I sit at the kitchen table and understand something clearly. If I stand up right now and tell anyone in my family what Derek is doing, not a single one of them will believe me. He's already built the wall. Every brick is a phone call I didn't know he was making. But I don't need my family to believe me. I need the county detective and adult protective services, and I see them in 4 hours. Detective Linda Harlan is not what I expected. Short, mid-50s, reading glasses on a chain around her neck, and a handshake that could crack a walnut. She's been with the Elder Abuse Unit for 11 years. We meet in a small conference room at Memorial. I lay everything out on the table, not dramatically, just methodically, the way I'd present a patient incident report at Evergreen. 7 audio recordings on the flip phone. The call from Derek this morning where he threatened to take the house. Recorded. Bank screenshots showing $14,000 in unauthorized transfers. 2 months of redirected Social Security deposits. Patty's observations about Harold's blood pressure and distress. The hospital social workers report. Harlan listens to the first recording, then the second. Her face stays perfectly neutral, but she writes without stopping. These recordings are legal, she says. Ohio is one-party consent. Your grandfather was a party to every conversation. They're admissible. She looks at the bank screenshots. The transfers are under $5,000 each, structured to avoid reporting. That's a pattern we see. I'll need a subpoena for the full bank records, but what you've shown me is enough for probable cause. Can I take you to see him? She nods. In room 412, Harold tells Detective Harlan everything. His voice shakes, but his mind is sharp. He gives dates, amounts, exact words. Harlan records his statement. Outside the room, she speaks to me directly. I'm opening a formal case, financial exploitation of the elderly and intimidation. It'll take a few days to process. Derek is hosting a prayer vigil tomorrow night. The whole town will be there. She studies me. What are you planning to do there? I meet her eyes. I'm just planning to show up. She holds my gaze for a long moment. Then, I've seen this pattern before. The charming son who shows up at the end. We take it very seriously. Friday night. The house is quiet the way only an empty house can be. Grandpa's reading lamp is still on in the living room because I can't bring myself to turn it off. I sit at the cherry wood desk and prepare. Copy every recording onto a USB drive. Print the bank screenshots, dates, amounts, account numbers. Put them in a manila folder. Not because I'll need paper at a church, but because having it in my hands makes it real. My phone buzzes. A number I haven't seen in almost a year. Kyle. Kyle is 22. My half-brother, Derek and Brenda's son. We shared a father and a last name and almost nothing else. He grew up hearing I was the favorite, Grandpa's pet, the one who got the house and the attention and the love Derek felt he was owed. Megan? His voice is quieter than I remember. Kyle. Dad told me you've been causing problems at the hospital. Is that what you called to say? He's quiet for a long time. I hear him breathing. Something's wrong with him, Megan. Not Grandpa. Dad. He's been weird, angry, desperate. He needs money. Kyle stops, starts again. He lost his job 8 months ago. Got fired from the dealership. Something about the sales numbers. Mom didn't tell anyone. I close my eyes. There it is. The missing piece. Derek didn't come back to Millfield because Harold was sick. He came back because he was broke. Do you have proof of anything? Kyle asks. Are you coming to the vigil tomorrow? A pause. Yeah, I'll be there. Then I'll see you tomorrow. I hang up. Sit in the quiet. The folder is on the desk. The USB is in my pocket. The house creaks the way it always creaks. The sound of wood settling, of joints Harold cut 45 years ago still holding true. Tomorrow night, 150 people, one microphone, one truth. I want to step outside the story for just a moment. Here's something I learned that night sitting alone in my grandfather's house. People don't steal from family because they're monsters. They steal because they're drowning. And drowning people grab whatever's closest, even if it's someone they're supposed to love. But understanding why someone hurts you doesn't mean you hand them the rope. My father had his reasons. I had my grandfather. Quick question for you. Kyle called me. Do you think he genuinely wanted to help? Or was he reporting back to Derek? I've seen people split on this one. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right. Saturday night. The vigil. Let me take you there. Grace Community Church is a white clapboard building on the corner of Maple and 3rd. Harold Thornton built the pews in 1994, sanded every one by hand. There's a small brass plate on the back row that reads, "Donated by Harold Thornton, for the community he loved." Saturday, 7 p.m. The parking lot is full. Trucks, sedans, minivans. Millfield doesn't have much, but it has this. When someone's hurting, people show up. Inside, about 140 people fill the pews. I see faces I recognize. Mrs. Stevens from next door, Mr. Pete Garland from the Carpentry Guild, teachers from my old high school, the woman who runs the bakery on Main. Aunt Ruth sits in the 3rd row, tissue in her hand. Candles line the windowsills. Warm light, gentle music from the organ. Pastor Jim Coleman steps to the pulpit. 63, silver-haired, voice like warm gravel. He's known Grandpa for 40 years. Tonight we gather for Harold Thornton, he begins. A man who built chairs for this church, repaired Mrs. Wilson's roof for free, and taught a generation of young people in this town the dignity of working with their hands. Then Derek stands, navy suit, red-rimmed eyes, Brenda beside him, holding his arm. He walks to the microphone. My father is the greatest man I've ever known. His voice wavers, perfectly calibrated. When he got sick, I dropped everything. I came home, because that's what family does. People nod. A few wipe their eyes. Aunt Ruth squeezes her tissue. Dad taught me that family stands together, Derek continues. And tonight, family is here. Applause. Soft, warm, sincere. 140 people who believe every word. The back door of the church opens. Nobody looks yet. But they will. I walk in wearing jeans and a gray sweater, hair pulled back, manila folder in my left hand, phone in my right. The pew nearest the door creaks as someone turns to look. Then another, then a ripple, heads turning, whispers spreading like a current through water. Derek is still at the microphone. His smile freezes. Not gone, just locked in place, the way a screen pauses before it crashes. I walk up the center aisle. Not fast, not slow. One foot in front of the other, the way Grandpa taught me to walk into any room, like you have a right to be there. Derek recovers. He leans into the mic with a warmth that would fool anyone who hasn't heard the recordings. Megan, I'm so glad you could make it. I stop at the front. I don't look at the audience yet. I look at Pastor Coleman. Pastor, I'd like to say a few words about my grandfather. Coleman glances at Derek. Derek's jaw tightens, but he nods. He has to. Saying no in front of 140 people who loved Harold Thornton, that would crack the mask. I step up to the microphone. Derek leans close as we pass each other. His mouth barely moves. Don't do anything stupid. I look at him. My voice is low enough for just the two of us. I'm not stupid. That's the one thing you never understood about me. I turn to face the room. 140 faces, candles on the windowsills, the pews my grandfather built with his hands. I set the folder on the pulpit. I hold the phone where everyone can see it. And I begin. My grandfather, Harold Thornton, is lying in a hospital bed right now. I found that out 5 days ago, but not from my father. From a nurse who called me at 3 in the morning because she couldn't stand what she was watching anymore. The whispers stop. The room goes still. For 3 days, my grandfather cried my name from that bed. He thought I abandoned him, because my father told him I didn't want to come. And then my father told me Grandpa didn't want visitors. I pause. Let it land. He lied to both of us. He kept us apart while Grandpa was dying. Derek steps forward from the side. Megan, you're upset. You don't know what you're... I don't look at him. I raise one hand, palm out. Not aggressive, just clear. I'm not done. I turn back to the room. But my grandfather is not a man who gives up easily. He's a carpenter. He builds things that last. And when he realized what was happening, he prepared. I hold up the phone. Press play. Turn the volume all the way up. Derek's voice rings through the church, bouncing off the walls Harold built those pews against. You're going to sign this paper, or I will move you to the cheapest nursing home in this county, the kind of place where nobody visits. No one moves. Someone in the back row inhales sharply, a sound like tearing paper. I play the next one. Derek, on the phone with a bank, using Harold's name, Harold's social security number, requesting a transfer of $4,800. Derek lunges toward me. Turn that off! It's fake! He was delirious. He doesn't know... Aunt Ruth stands up in the third row. Her tissue is gone. Her hands are fists at her sides. Her eyes lock onto Derek. Derek! Her voice is steady and terrible. That is your voice. Pastor Coleman places a hand on Derek's shoulder, firm. Derek, I think you should sit down. The candles flicker. The church is so quiet, I can hear my own heartbeat. And I'm not finished. Derek wrenches away from Coleman's hand. His face is red, not embarrassment red, but the red of something cornered. You don't know what you're doing, he says to me. His voice is louder than he means it to be. I'm his son. I have the right... You have the right to what? Mrs. Stevens stands up from the end of the fourth row, 72 years old, 5'3", voice like a church bell. You disappeared for 20 years, Derek. Megan is the one who mowed Harold's lawn every Saturday. Megan is the one who shoveled his driveway. Where were you? Murmurs ripple through the pews, heads nodding. Pete Garland stands next, 80 years old, hands like Harold's, carpenter's hands. Harold told me last month that someone took his credit card. I thought the old man was confused. He looks at Derek. He wasn't confused, was he? Derek is scanning the room, looking for an ally, looking for one face that still believes him. He doesn't find it. Brenda tugs his elbow. We need to go, now. Derek turns to leave. Then he sees Kyle. Kyle is standing at the back of the church, near the door, arms at his sides. He's been there the whole time. His eyes are red. He's not moving toward his father. He's not moving at all. Kyle. Derek's voice cracks. Let's go. Kyle doesn't move. Derek and Brenda push through the side door. It swings shut behind them. Through the window, I see Brenda walking fast toward the parking lot, wiping her face. Derek stands on the steps for a moment, shoulders dropped, staring at the ground. Not angry, empty. I turn back to the room. Thank you for coming tonight, I say quietly. My grandfather deserves to know that this whole town loves him. That's all I wanted to say. And I step away from the pulpit. The next half hour is a blur of hands and voices. Mrs. Stevens reaches me first. She wraps her arms around me and holds on, the way grandmothers hold, firm and purposeful. Pete Garland takes both my hands in his. His palms are rough as sandpaper. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I should have believed Harold when he told me. Aunt Ruth. She stands in front of me and can't speak for a long moment. Then, I'm sorry. He called me and I believed him. I should have called you first. It's okay, Aunt Ruth. Derek tells a convincing story. It's not okay. Her voice is fierce. But I'm here now. Pastor Coleman pulls me aside near the vestibule. If you need anything from this church, a witness statement, a letter of character, anything, you come to me directly. Then, people I barely know. The woman from the bakery, my old math teacher. A man I've never met who says Harold fixed his porch in 2006 and never charged him. They don't all say the right thing. Some don't say anything at all. But they stay, and staying is enough. Kyle is the last one. He walks up after the crowd thins out. We stand in the aisle between the pews Harold built. I'm sorry, he says. You don't owe me sorry. You owe yourself a decision about where you stand. He nods, swallows hard, looks at the floor. Outside, in Rose's car, I call Detective Harlan. 140 people just heard those recordings in a church. A beat of silence. Then, I know. I've already gotten 3 calls from people who were there. I lean my head against the window. Rosa pulls out of the parking lot. The church gets smaller in the side mirror, its white walls glowing under the streetlight. I close my eyes. And for the first time in 5 days, the pressure behind my ribs loosens. Just a little. Just enough. Sunday morning. I drive to Memorial in Rose's car. She left me the keys and took a ride with a friend. Don't argue, she texted. Just bring it back with gas. The hospital is different now. No security guard outside room 412. No clipboard check. The front desk nurse nods at me when I sign in. Go right up, Miss Thornton. They updated the visitor list overnight. I open the door. Grandpa is thinner than yesterday. His breathing is slower. I can hear the spaces between each inhale getting wider. But when he sees me, something lights up behind his eyes. Not a smile exactly. Something deeper. Recognition. Hey, Grandpa. Meggie. He pats the bed beside him. I sit. I tell him about the vigil. I keep it simple. The church, the candles, the recordings played out loud, Derek leaving, the town standing with me. I don't embellish. He doesn't need embellishment. He listens with his eyes closed. When I'm done, he asks one question. Ruth came? She did. She cried. She said she was sorry. She always believes the wrong person first. A pause. The ghost of a smile. But she has a good heart. He reaches for my hand. I give it. His fingers fold around mine. No grip left, just presence. You don't need the house, Meggie. A house isn't 4 walls. But I want you to keep it. He opens his eyes. Because I didn't build it for me. I built it for the one who would stay. I didn't do this for the house, Grandpa. I know. That's why you deserve it. His eyes drift shut. I sit with him. The monitor beeps, steady and slow. Afternoon sunlight stretches across the floor, reaching toward his bed like a hand. Patty comes in, checks his vitals, looks at the two of us. She doesn't say a word. She just nods at me and slips back out. Some things don't need language. Monday. Detective Harlan calls at 9 a.m. Case is officially open. We're pursuing financial exploitation of the elderly. That's a felony 4 in Ohio. And identity fraud for the bank calls. I've requested a subpoena for full transaction records. What happens next? A judge has issued a temporary protective order. Your father is prohibited from contacting Harold or entering the hospital. A PS has a parallel investigation running. The bank has frozen all outgoing transactions on Harold's accounts pending review. I sit at the kitchen table and write it down in my notebook, the way I chart patient notes at work. Facts, dates, outcomes. $14,000 in unauthorized transfers. Frozen, flagged for recovery. 2 months of Social Security rerouted. The deposit has been corrected back to Harold's account. Derek's shared account, now part of an active fraud investigation. I check Facebook. Derek's vigil post is still up, but the comments have transformed overnight. The prayer hands emojis are gone. In their place. Is it true what Harold's granddaughter said? I was at the vigil. I heard the recordings. I'm sick to my stomach. Derek Thornton should be ashamed. Nobody's calling him a good son anymore. Then Brenda calls. I almost don't pick up. Do you have any idea what you've done? Her voice is shaking, not with grief, but with the sound of someone watching their plan collapse. We are family, Megan. You don't air family business in public. Brenda, I didn't break this family. Derek did. I just turned on the light. Silence. He lost his job, she says, quieter now. 8 months ago. We're drowning. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. But drowning doesn't give you the right to pull someone else under. I hang up. My hands are steady. The house is quiet. Grandpa's reading lamp is still on. I leave it on. Tuesday afternoon. A knock at the front door. Kyle is standing on the porch with a backpack over one shoulder and a look on his face like a man who just walked out of a building that was already on fire. Mom kicked me out, he says, because I told her I believed you. I look at him. 22 years old, red-eyed, jaw set the same way Grandpa sets when he's made a decision he won't unmake. He's got Derek's chin but Harold's eyes, something I never noticed before. Come in. We sit at the cherrywood desk, the same desk where I prepped the folder, where I sat up late on Friday night listening to recordings that changed everything. Kyle runs his hand across the surface, feeling the grain. Grandpa made this? When I was 12. He nods, looks around the room, the windowsills with the grooves, the oak floor, the photo of my mother on the mantel. This is the house his father tried to steal, and Kyle has never been inside it. I have something else, he says. He pulls a crumpled paper from his backpack, a credit card statement. Dad opened a new credit card under Grandpa's name 3 months ago. I found the paperwork in his glove box. I didn't know what it was until Saturday night. I pick up the phone and call Detective Harlan. Kyle leans back in the chair. He looks tired. The kind of tired that comes from realizing your whole childhood was built on a version of events that wasn't true. Mom told me to pick a side, he says quietly. And? I didn't pick a side. I picked the truth. I look at my half-brother sitting in my grandfather's house, at the desk my grandfather built, holding evidence against his own father. And I think, Harold would have liked this kid. You hungry? I ask. Starving. I make oatmeal, brown sugar, Grandpa's recipe. Thursday, 6:02 a.m. My phone rings. I already know. Kyle drives. He doesn't ask where. He just grabs the keys and goes. The roads are empty, the sky barely lightening. Neither of us speaks. There's nothing to say that the silence isn't already saying. Aunt Ruth is in the hallway when we arrive. She's been here since midnight, the nurse tells me. Drove 2 hours from Columbus in the dark. Room 412. Grandpa is still. The oxygen tube is gone. The IV is disconnected. His hands are resting on the blanket, those carpenter's hands, thinner now than I've ever seen, but still square at the knuckles, still shaped by decades of holding things together. His eyes open when I take his hand. Just barely. Just enough. He looks at me, then at Kyle, then at Ruth. The faintest movement at the corner of his mouth, not quite a smile, something older. "Full house," he whispers. Ruth takes his other hand. Kyle stands at the foot of the bed, one hand on the rail, not moving. Grandpa's eyes stay on mine. I can feel him letting go, not all at once, but gently, the way you set something down when you know it's in the right place. The monitor beeps slower, slower, then a single long tone. Patty comes in. She looks at the clock, writes something on the chart. Then she looks at me and nods, the same nod she gave me the first night, when she opened the door and let me in. I don't scream. I don't fall. I sit in the chair and hold his hand and say quietly, "I'm here, Grandpa. I was always here." Ruth cries. Kyle cries. I cry later, out in the hallway, on the floor, alone, my back against the wall. Patty finds me there. She sits down next to me. She doesn't say a word. She just sits. 3 weeks later, I'm standing in the doorway of the house Harold Thornton built in 1981. Oak floors, hand-carved windowsills, a porch he leveled 3 times because he said "close enough" wasn't a phrase that belonged in carpentry. It's mine now, not because I asked for it. Because 2 years ago, when he was healthy and clear-headed, Grandpa sat down with a lawyer and signed a will. Witnessed, notarized, airtight. He left the house to me with a single note in the margin, in his handwriting, for Meggie, who stayed. Derek was formally charged last week. Financial exploitation of the elderly, felony 4 under Ohio law, up to 18 months in prison. Identity fraud, felony 5. His arraignment is next month. Brenda filed for divorce 3 days after the charges were announced, not out of conscience, but because she found out Derek had been lying to her too. About the job, about the debt, about how much he'd already taken. Kyle works part-time at the coffee shop on Main Street. He comes to dinner every Thursday. We sit at the cherrywood desk. It doubles as a dining table for 2. And we eat whatever I've managed to cook between shifts. We don't call each other family yet. But he sat in this house last Thursday and said, "This is the only table where I don't feel like I have to perform." That's close enough for now. Aunt Ruth comes on Sundays. She brings pie. We sit on the porch and talk about Grandpa, his terrible jokes, his oatmeal obsession, the time he accidentally nailed his own sleeve to a shelf and didn't tell anyone for 2 hours. I still work the night shift at Evergreen. I still walk home at 3 a.m. I still open the door to sawdust and coffee and quiet. I never spoke to Derek again. Not out of hatred, not out of forgiveness, just silence. The quietest boundary is the one you never have to explain. That's my story. My grandfather built a house with his hands and protected me with a phone he hid under his pillow. He couldn't fight with his fists anymore, so he fought with the truth. And he made sure I was the one who heard it. If there's one thing I want you to carry out of this, it's this. You don't need to scream to be strong. You just need to refuse to look away. If this story meant something to you, leave me a comment. I read every one. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe. I have more stories I need to tell. There's another one waiting for you in the description. I think you're going to want to hear it. Thank you.